So my wife called me earlier today, and she was upset because a friend of hers had sent her a message or posted something on her Facebook page talking about how Charlie Kirk was an anti-Semite, and he said bad things about Jewish people. And I said, you just have to ignore these things because people really don't know what they're talking about. So I wanted to ease her mind a little bit, and I got home and didn't have a lot of time to prepare for the podcast today. But as I found this headline, Andrew. And
well, I'm sitting right next to you.
You're not surprised to know that the New York Times was forced to issue a correction after making an egregiously false claim about Charlie Kirk.
Oh, that's crazy.
What a surprise. The New York Times put out a correction Thursday after falsely accusing Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk of making an anti-Semitic claim on his podcast. Times falsely accused Kirk of stating on his podcast in 2023 that Jewish communities are pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they want people to stop using against them. However, Kirk cited a tweet making that claim and critiqued it, causing the Times correction to be made. So this is the kind of stuff that gets out there and gets perpetuated by the left. If it's in the New York Times, what is the left's favorite newspaper?
New York Times.
The New York Times. If it's in the New York Times, they are going to take it as absolute gospel, right, and they are going to repeat those claims, and you will hear it on because, it used to be there's a website called the Daily Coast. Is Daily Coast even still in business?
I think it is.
But the Daily Coast, just a huge far left, absurdly ridiculous radical left-wing website. It used to be the primer for every show that you saw on MSNBC and sometimes on CNN. So now it's the New York Times. And essentially, that's all these shows do is recite what they see in the Times. So if the Times is going to say Charlie Kirk is anti-Semitic,
they're going to run with it.
Then they are going to run with it and they are going to use it. No matter what kind of correction comes out, no matter how he defends himself or anything else. So you have these far left influencers, far left academia, far left media people who are all fellow travelers. And the way they fact check things is if they see something in the New York Times, well, then they'll get it verified by MSNBC.
Right.
And MSNBC will get it verified by ABC News. And ABC News will get it verified by CNN. You see, it's just a circular firing squad.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like the Steele dossier a little bit.
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I think there's a lot of overlap there.
Well, and back when people were actually getting newspapers delivered and reading, sitting at the table in the morning, reading them, going through, and when there was a retraction, that retraction would be on the very back page at the very bottom, like right-hand side, that nobody ever fucking got that far into the paper anyway. But they're like, oh, we put a retraction.
Oh, yeah, the retraction.
Yeah, we put a retraction in.
Hey, you want to know now? Just to put this in perspective, listen. With the show just started. It's show 2.0.
Yeah, sorry.
We were going to
apologize.
Little audio difficulty.
But let me say, Jason fixed it, and he fixed it pretty quickly. Listen, we were going to go live yesterday. And I'm kind of glad we didn't go live yesterday because I don't know what you might have heard yesterday if we had a show. All you would have heard, first of all, you wouldn't have heard a whole lot of Dan because he was busy. So that was one reason we pushed it back. The other reason we pushed it back was I was, and I still am. This is our first show after what happened, okay, on Wednesday. And I was seething pissed off all day long. And I'm still seething pissed off.
I was fucking despondent Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah, you felt like you didn't know what was wrong, but something was wrong.
I told Jill, I said, I felt like, never met Charlie Kirk, but I was a big fan. I followed, his TikTok and, watch all of his videos. And when that happened, and obviously we're not playing the video, but
no,
I watched the video and I said, I've been a fireman for a long time. And that is in my top 5 of worst things I've ever seen. And I felt like part of like a friend or the friend group, somebody close, like because I'm thinking about his wife, his kids, and I'm like, holy shit. But and I just didn't know how to like get out of the funk.
Did you know immediately he was not going to survive that?
As soon as I saw it, I knew he was dead before he hit the ground.
Yeah,
he had to have been. Here, I'm gonna pull James McGee in real quick.
James is up.
James, welcome, my man.
Man, thank y'all for having me. I feel the same way y'all do. I'm just in disbelief and lost.
And James, what to make this worse? Okay, so that happened yesterday, right? Or Wednesday. I'm sorry. And Jason's like, we got to do a show. I'm like, no, Dan can't do it. Let's wait. Let's just do it all together. And I said, just give it time.
That was definitely, I was coming in hot.
And he was pissed, and I was.
We would have all been a lot hotter than we are right now.
Right now,
I think we're still pretty hot, though.
We're still we're pissed off because it's changed. And what has changed for me, and I like the way this is. I should say I'm pissed, but I'm satisfied in a way. The response to his killing is just as egregious, just as disgusting, and just as offensive to me, maybe more so than the act of violence that occurred that took his life. And when I see, and I have absolutely no problem, we have a business here in Cincinnati. Well, we had a business here in Cincinnati, a barbecue place downtown.
I've been following that.
So that guy apparently, I think they're like, oh no, we're not affiliated with him anymore. I'm like, well, whatever. That guy, I think they just lost their meat supplier. I don't know how you make barbecue without meat, but the responses I'm seeing, and some are elected officials. We have a municipal court judge here that's made some disgusting remarks. He's obviously a Democrat. I used to not. I mean, I did kind of participate a little bit in cancel culture. I don't consider this cancel culture. I think folks, and what I think has changed, and I said this. People, this is a bridge too far for people. I've seen a lot of videos from folks I don't know that have come out and they're saying, y'all are celebrating the death of this guy just for his political beliefs. I'm not going to be affiliated with a party that does that anymore.
I wrote off 2 family members yesterday.
Did you really?
On Facebook.
I will write anyone off.
I didn't know that.
You're out, motherfuckers. You're out. I don't give a shit.
It's all based, like Dan just said. The reason I'm bringing it back, it's based on a lot of misinformation. They hear from the New York Times a false story that they then retract. Mm-hmm. There's also a writer you may have heard of, Stephen King, that had to come out and make a retraction because, I guess he really didn't say that. Okay, so there's a lot of misinformation out there that's being shared. Like Dan said, well, the ABC will quote CBS, will quote this, will quote that, but it's all based on false information, a false story initially. But they circularly pleasure themselves to the same nugget of misinformation. And yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
That's very clever. That is very clever.
Dan, the light just went on. Wait a second. Pleasure himself. No. And I don't mean to laugh, but I'm saying we're trying to be less pissed off because no one wants to watch.
All of us are hurting.
But I mean,
I called. Yeah, go ahead, Pappas.
It's just so infuriating to me that they label somebody that was just listen. I said this on the radio today, different show. Sorry, Dan. Sorry, Dan. Look, I should have listened
to my show. It was really good.
I was busy. I was getting a massage.
We have to make light.
We have a lot of
we are hurting. Everybody knows.
What I was going to say is this. Where the hell was I going with this thought? It's gone.
I don't know. You got off that massage tangent.
I did. The massage
lost your way.
No, what I was going to say is this. Listen, I was a little older I missed the Charlie Kirk craze a little bit because I was not his target demographic. He spoke to the younger people, and that's definitely not me. And I didn't follow everything he said, but I did follow enough to be like, hey, man, the guy just spoke the truth. I mean, people will extrapolate if he gives data on minority crime that somehow he's anti-minority. That's not what he's doing. He's trying to demonstrate using data. he never lied that I know of. I don't think. I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. He never been proven that he was lying, spreading false information, misinformation, and he did what I don't have. To be fair, I don't have the patience. I don't have the personality. I don't have the makeup to do. I will not engage somebody. I mean, at this point in my life, my patience level is 0. I will not do what he does and go and engage these liberals in their home, like on a college campus full of liberals, and have a genuinely civil discussion with them.
You'll do it through a keyboard on Facebook though, like a champ.
Hey, I'm wearing out my thumbs
You're
today.
you're like a black belt.
Don't be a hater.
Oh,
I'm not.
Baptist is a straight up black belt keyboard warrior, dude. I'm telling you.
I talked to James yesterday, and
Yeah.
James goes, "Dude, I'm trying to keep up with Pappas on social media." He's like, "Dude, I can't."
No, that's a fool's errand. Right there.
And you know,
What are we saying here? What are we saying?
I definitely share y'all's hurt and y'all's anger. And I feel the same way yesterday. I called Jason. I don't even know why I called him. He's a friend that could relate the most to how I felt. I knew that. And I called him. I don't even know why I called you. I'm just fucking mad. And I'm just hurting. And
I need to talk to you for a second. I'm like,
I'm just fucking angry, and y'all seen all the hate, and I hate that, but I'm gonna tell you, be honest with you, what got to me the most wasn't the laughing and cheering. What got to me the most was one of these self-righteous liberal commentators on CNN when they said that with their self-righteous, pompous self said, we need to have a conversation. What the fuck do we need to talk about? Now y'all want to have a conversation? You killed our conversationalist. He was the best conversationalist in the conservative movement. He had a movement and you killed him. So what do you want to talk about? Yeah, I feel like I'm a decent conversationalist. Man, I couldn't compare to this guy. And you're right, Paps. The guy was special, the way he could handle things. If I'm on one of them stages, it's a fist fight every fucking time. And that's just but he was special. And you know what? They couldn't beat him. They couldn't rattle him. So you know what they did? They killed him. So what do we want to talk about? What is there? There's nothing to talk about. The talking is over with the liberals. Because I've said this probably on this show before, and I pride myself with, I love having conversation with opposing sides. I don't anymore. I don't want to talk to a liberal. I don't want to look at a liberal. I don't want to associate with a liberal. If there's any liberals listening right now, go fuck yourself. I don't want to talk to you. I have nothing to say to you. The talking with liberals are over because you cannot speak to them. They cannot have an intelligent conversation because what happened was they couldn't beat him. He was too intelligent. He did his homework. They don't do their homework. They just spout garbage, just like what you were saying with the New York Times, Dan. They spout fucking garbage, and they couldn't beat him, so they killed him. They can go fuck themselves.
Well, they do a smoke and mirrors. It's okay. I don't agree with this, but what about this over here? So they detract and pull you, try to pull your attention over.
Oh, and yeah, all my TikToks I've been doing, I get January 6th, Trump's a racist. You know what? Fuck you. You can't speak to people like that. There's just some people you can't talk to. And now I just choose not to. I'm not going to speak to them. And they probably won't get their feelings hurt. They probably don't want to talk to me either. But I have nothing to say to a liberal. I have nothing to say to a Democrat. And I've never been that guy. And perhaps that's what's changing now. They're changing. They're waking up people like us who just want to live their lives and don't want to bother anybody. But I think they fucked up this time.
I wound up being on the radio a little bit more this week than I originally thought I was going to be. And I did a show last night. I did one earlier today. And I've really kind of brought myself to the conclusion after seeing all this stuff that's out there about how many on the left are celebrating this and, making jokes about it and being so out front and open with what they're thinking about Charlie Kirk and this assassin and what he did. And I've kind of come to the conclusion that the left is really okay with this kind of stuff. They've created a safe space for people who want to make light of this situation and act like it's a big joke. I mean, there's people out there. I saw a video today. A guy had a bullhorn, and I don't know if he was on a college campus or where he was, but there was a number of other young people around. They all look like a bunch of Mondani voters. and they're singing this song about, hey, we got Charlie, who's next? And they're talking about taking out more people.
I saw that.
Did you see?
How can anyone find that humorous
Acceptable.
or clever?
How is that acceptable?
Acceptable political debate.
There was
especially at this point.
There was a social threat put to our vice president after a comment he made. It said, "Be careful, you're next."
Oh, that's all over the place.
So it's like, all right, so that IP address is obviously fucking that's locked in somewhere.
Be getting a knock on the door from the Secret Service any moment.
It's just, and it's very unfortunate. I look at it, the Family Guy first and foremost. His wife and kids were there. They watched that. They watched that fucking happen. Gross. First and foremost.
Yeah.
But because you didn't agree, and there's a lot of people that don't agree with what he was saying, right?
That's all it was. That's 100% what it was. There's nothing else.
So that makes it okay. So we had one of our buddies sent me like 3 novels worth of text messages. His name might rhyme with Cincy 513.
Well, you said buddies.
Right.
Liar.
It's very sarcastic.
Liar.
But he sends me 3 novels of text messages. And I said, look, I think it's fucking gross what happened. Literally disgusting. And if you don't like what we say and we go back and forth, and I like the discourse back and forth to a point, but this shook me. It rattled me. And it's been a long time since I've been rattled like that, where I looked at Jill and I'm like, I don't know how to like even feel right now. But then he starts in and he's throwing out, his thoughts, which those are his. That's fine. I said, if you don't like it, unsubscribe. Unsubscribe, motherfuucker.
Yeah, nobody.
Don't talk to me. That's fine. But this is the way I feel, and this is where I'm at. So it is what it is. And any response I gave him, like a typical liberal, fucking went somewhere else. I'm talking about this, and then you go this way.
Yeah, because they have nothing else to say.
James, what's going on down there now? Just for everyone's, you're not with us here in the Midwest. You're down south.
I'm in God's country.
Especially this time of year. What as far as the local local response, like what are you saying?
And actually, hold on real quick. We did have a civil conversation, Cincy, we did. But we definitely were not walking away from that feeling the same warm and fuzzy feeling. And that's okay, and I'm okay with it. But like I told you, if you don't like it, don't subscribe. Don't listen. But you chose to come in, which I appreciate you being here. I appreciate everybody that's being here. And one of the comments that torqued me off in that conversation, sorry, Andrew, was, well, if Rosie O'Donnell, you guys talk shit about Rosie O'Donnell, if she got killed, you'd be happy. No, I'm not happy about anybody getting killed.
Wait a second. Wait, now I'm glad you reminded me.
We haven't celebrated one death. The conservatives hadn't celebrated one fucking death. So that's not a legitimate argument.
Well, that's his supposition based on what my question would be. That's your I watched enough Perry Mason. That's his supposition. Notice the word. I watched his that's a supposition based on what? Do you have evidence? Has Jason celebrated somebody's death, which is really offensive considering the business that he's in, to say something like that, because he's a lot more professional than that. I know it doesn't come across, but
how long has someone like Al Sharpton been a left wing agitator out there? No one's taken him out.
I mean,
and I agree. There's nuts on both sides.
There are nuts on both sides,
and we agreed on that. We definitely agreed on that.
That's an easy one.
Not an issue.
Eric Trump Jr. said yesterday the bullets are all flying one way.
They are all flying. I'd like to remind Cincy 513 of the Congress, our congressman at the time that saved the life of your congressman James down there in Louisiana, Steve Scalise. That was bullets flying at Republicans. Out at Park in D.C., okay? And I'd like to also remind you, sir, that, yes, there are nuts on both sides. It's an easy that's easy. Now you piss me off. That's an easy thing to say, and then nuts on both sides. So ergo, but you don't know. You just don't know. I'll tell you this, and I'll be brutally honest. If, for example, maybe pick somebody, Ilhan Omar or some local people. So maybe some local people might be a better example.
Well, she had her fun at the expense of Charlie Kirk the other day too.
Yeah, so. But if somebody passed away, if somebody died, I'll put it to actually say better. I shared a video of Donald Trump when he found out that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. And Donald Trump didn't agree one thing that Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, RBG. And when she died, look it up, 513. You know, if Trump is a Nazi and you guys have been spreading this goddamn rhetoric since day one, since before this, since the last time, he's a Nazi. Ergo, everyone that supports him must be a Nazi, okay? Which those are dangerous words. There's a present threat, a clear and present danger. And then you sit there and he was told Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. Look at his reaction. I want you to look it up. It's on my page. It's open. Go look it up. He was upset. He said, I'm sorry to hear that. We disagreed, but I'm sorry that she's dead. But your side sits there and says, well, if she, you put words, you put emotions, you don't know what I would do. You have no idea what he would do. And you don't have no idea what he would do. And to be fair, I don't know what you would do, but I'm not here telling you what you would do. So piss off. There, I said it. There.
So I agree. And I'm to answer your first question, what's the temperature over here? It's the same where it is over there. I've had some friends of mine who normally don't get in politics. They've called me and said, hey, man, I think it's the time. They're waking up. And what one of my friends told me, and it has really nothing to do with race. It's just how he talked. He said, they're waking up the angry white man. And think about it. We just, as working class people, just want to raise our families. We just want to live our lives. They're waking up people with this who normally don't wake up. That's where it gets scary. That's where something really could happen, is because if they want a war, first off, they don't want that type of war. You know, the blue hair, nose ring, pansies.
Hey, wait a second, James. They play Call of Duty. I mean, they play Call of Duty. They got
exactly.
Their,
But you had a good point. Yeah, let's talk about Rosie O'Donnell. Okay. So, when they talk about the rhetoric and they talk about Trump, what if people like Trump or people like us, what have we said about Rosie O'Donnell? She's a fat pig. Okay. Big deal. First off, it's accurate. Second, that's different. That is not hate speech. That is not igniting people. That is not inciting.
I actually gave her and Ellen accolades in the fact that they said that they were going to move. And then we did. I said, and on this podcast, I said, good for you. I appreciate that.
Give credit where credit is due.
Follow it through. Go. But nobody's expecting you to stay if you don't want to stay.
I wish Trump wouldn't say some of the things that he says, and it's humorous.
Yeah.
But it's different than the Nazi. That's what's inciting people like this fucking 22-year-old fascist, and they don't even know what fascist is, and they can't even fucking spell fascist, and they keep spouting those things. That's what's inciting, not calling somebody a fat pig or calling Jasmine Crockett shit, a low IQ individual. That's not inciting people to go kill people. That's where the difference is, Pappas, is they're inciting people. They are they're radicalizing people with their hate speech. That's a lot different than calling Rosie O'Donnell a fat pig, which she is.
Well, and here's the thing about Charlie Kirk, though. The body of work is out there for everyone to see.
Yeah, that's right.
All these issues that we've touched on so far here today. Talk about being an anti-Semite. Talk about being a fascist. Talk about being a racist. Talk about being anti-LGBTQ, transgender stuff. All these issues. People confronted him directly to his face on all these issues. And watch the video. Watch how he interacts with these people. Watch how he deals. He doesn't call them names, doesn't get violent. He simply listens to their arguments, and then piece by piece, fact by fact, he deconstructs their argument. Not only that, he was talking to one person who was obviously very disturbed, and this person was obviously a dude or a girl who identified as a whatever
transgender.
Yeah, identified as trans. I think it was a girl who identified as a guy.
Okay, and
he really got to the soul of the matter, and he's telling them. He says, deep down inside, you cannot change what you were born as. And I mean, just about brought this person to tears not in a way that was
Demeaning.
demeaning or mean or angry or trying to belittle this person, but simply bringing out the truth.
Yeah.
And so, I give credit to a lot of those college kids who showed up at his events that were anti-Charlie Kirk and actually took the time to listen to what he had to say. But there's still far too many. There was I saw an ABC News report, and they were talking about there was a debate on this campus at Utah Valley University about whether or not he should even be allowed on campus. And how do we get to that point to where these colleges don't even what do they talk about? Diversity, inclusion, all that stuff. But when it comes to someone who has a different viewpoint,
Equality,
than they do, well, that's where they draw the line.
right?
And I'm looking at a survey right now, and I talked about this earlier today. There's a survey that was done. I think the survey came out the day before Charlie Kirk was killed. Finds 1 in 3 college students, so that's a third of college students, think some level of violence is acceptable to stop campus speech they don't like.
That's unreal.
Simply because they don't like it. And if you don't like it, well, then violence. That's a lot of kids. That's a
sizable chunk.
That is a major problem.
Yeah, that's a problem.
If you've got a third of college students out there who think some level of violence is acceptable to shut down speech that you don't like, and look what Charlie Kirk did. He never went to a campus to try and shut anyone down. He never went to a campus to try to get anyone fired. He never went to a campus to try and disrupt what was happening on that campus. He went there to listen, and he went there to speak, and that's it. And if you can't deal with that as an American citizen,
I mean, geez.
Yeah, no one was ever forced to go to one of his events.
Strap you down. It was words, man. It was words.
Right.
They killed him over fucking words.
Nobody put you in that quad and made you stay there.
You can walk by. You knew he was there. You went and chose to go listen. You had a platform to talk about whatever you wanted to talk about. He would just say, speak. How many times have you seen? Here's the microphone. Speak.
Open mic right
Far
there.
more than any liberal.
Say whatever,
like the
whatever
liberals
you talk
do
about,
their
whatever
little,
you want to talk about.
Right. The liberals have a deal, and they do their little chants. Ho 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 ho. Our fro's got to go. Whatever they want to talk about. And I'm just so pissed off because this is over words, and this gets back to the difference between conservatives and liberals, in my opinion.
Oh, dude, I got something right behind.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
We have.
I stirred to people.
Conservatives think, liberals feel. I can't change your feelings. Only you can change your feelings. And if your feelings rule you, you're fucked. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not saying being unfeeling. It's not what I'm saying. But their emotions rule the day. And we've got a big problem. A third of youngsters, a third of the youth of this country, these people are going to grow up. These are college kids. They're going to be. They can probably vote.
Now let me hit that real quick. I literally just got this text message. I'm not going to throw it in, but somebody that I'm very close to sent me and people that listen will know, but this Instagram video, I'm not going to play it, but it says Hillsdale College singing hymns and praying for Charlie and America, and it's a video of the kids in church, college kids in the church.
Mm-hmm.
Right underneath it, George Floyd peaceful protesters, and they're literally burning down the city and breaking, looting.
We're not the same.
Absolutely, are not the same.
I mean, somebody posted it. My friend Alex is chairman, and he posted a nice post. How many riots were there across the nation yesterday? How about Thursday? How many riots and burning? How many buildings burned, James? How many buildings burned down there in Louisiana that we didn't hear?
It must be really bad down there.
I mean, how many people did you see? Breaking windows over Charlie Kirk, and no disrespect to the dead, with comparing him to Floyd.
Oh,
but
God. Yeah.
My question is, Charlie Kirk did far more good in the world.
Yeah,
far more good in the world, and spread the gospel and talked about Jesus Christ. And he had an encyclopedic knowledge of the Bible, and he had encyclopedic knowledge of the Constitution. And I'm not, we can't undo what's happened, of course not, and I'm still pissed, but I'm more pissed at the reaction. And I have no problem. There's a lot of people sharing, and this is why I said I think you've lit a torch. And James, you said you had people contact you, say they weren't political before, they wanted to be.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And it's because of the rhetoric that.
That's right. Here's where I'm happy. I like these people that are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death with rude comments and insensitive and just ghoulish behavior. I have no problem them being outed and losing their goddamn jobs. I have absolutely no problem about it whatsoever.
That is a great segue, sir. Let me just make sure that was good. That's a great segue, sir, because we've got a couple that we'll play. I only grabbed 2, but there were multiple, and I love seeing them hit feed. Boom, so-and-so lost their job.
But that's a problem, too, that there's so many to choose from.
Yes.
Isn't it, though?
Right.
I had a story that had a list of people who've been fired or people who put out negative comments. And I mean, that list, I'm scrolling down and I'm scrolling and it keeps going. I'm scrolling more. I'm scrolling. I mean, there's no shortage.
I'm going to bring you in on this. Talk to me about the environment. The reports of exactly what happened are not confirmed yet. But talk to me about the environment in which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, emphasize what you just emphasized. We don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about this. But following up on what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt.
And that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
Well, guess what? The unfortunate environment you're in is the fucking breadline, you fucking clown.
He got fired from what I understand.
What? He gone. He gone, bro.
Well, and the thing is, what's the gal's name that was hosting that particular program? I don't know, but did she challenge him on any of that?
Nope. No.
Did she challenge him to say, "Wait a minute"?
That was only one. Like,
give me. If I'm hosting that show, I'm stopping, and maybe I'm doing Matthew Dowd a favor there by stopping him mid-stroke and saying, "You need to give me an example. What exactly are you talking about?
What hate speech?
Yeah, what hate speech? Yeah." But on CNN, MSNBC, they're never going to do that. They're like bobbleheads. They just sit there, if they're a reliable basher of someone on the right, then that's what gets them a position as a commentator on one of those shows.
So just to follow up with that, Carolina Panthers fired a member of their communications department due to an insensitive social media post.
It's about time they grow some balls and do some things like that.
The views expressed by our employees are their own and do not represent those of the Carolina Panthers. We do not condone violence of any kind. We are taking this matter very seriously and have accordingly addressed it with the individual by shit canning him.
And here locally, I mean, we have lots of examples, but here locally, you know who's dragging their feet, firing one of their own? I'll give you a guess, James. What kind of business do you think they're in when they're not one of their own? I think it was 2 of their own, but one of their own definitely was making insensitive, celebratory comments over Charlie Kirk's death. Mm-hmm. What kind of business do you think I'm talking about right now? I'm gonna give you a guess, 2 guesses, just one guess.
Probably the government, I would think.
No. The government actually, you know what? Well, yes, yeah, you're partially right. There is
a judge. There's a lot of teachers that are just.
A lot of teachers have been fired. A lot of teachers have been fired. And a lot have been fired.
And well, let's just talk about that point for a second, because isn't that concerning?
Yeah.
To everyone who has it. Thank God my kids are they're through school already. But anyone that has a kid going to school and you see this amount of teachers,
that's me,
openly putting this kind of stuff out there, free in the bosom of their safe space. They're able to put this kind of vile rhetoric out there, knowing that they won't be called on it or the union is going to protect them. Free to say whatever they want to say. And then these are the people who are celebrating this assassination in cold blood, and then tomorrow they're going to be teaching your kids.
What are they going to be teaching your kids?
Well, exactly. That
But
should be very concerning to anyone.
James, the one business here that's been dragging their feet and been really slow letting somebody go is
the Bengals.
Local television
local
news,
television, one of the more liberal ones here. Local television news.
Oh, guys, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but they won't fire the guy. Everyone else is doing the right thing, and I have zero problem because I think what's changed. You said folks are waking up. I made a statement on my page. Folks are waking up. I feel like this is different. Before, I think this would have blown over. I hope this grows. I hope you. They're waking
people up, man. They're waking people up.
I'm not a big influence, but when I see something, I'm sharing it and I'm putting it out there. And a lot of people that didn't get involved in my stupid posts, to be honest with you, a lot of times are sharing this, and a lot of this is picking up momentum. And I just am not taking this anymore. I am tired of the minority berating the majority. We are there's nothing wrong with our values. You mock our values. You mock us. You've killed somebody over free speech, which you should be. I mean, to be fair, a liberal should be championing free speech. That's what used to be the term liberal. It used to be conservatives didn't like, if you were talking about whatever you didn't agree with, a conservative back in the day, 40s, 50s, maybe 60s, but somebody would sit there and say, oh my God, it was the liberals like, hey man, peace, love, let them say what they want to say. Now it's the liberals. It's switched. The liberals. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I put it up there. I put it up there. I knew I was going to regret it, felony, but
I appreciate that.
They are actually humorous.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's amazing the switch. And you Democrats, you liberal Democrats, you crazy libs should be actually the champions of free speech, and you're not. And you're celebrating the death of someone over his words. And that just infuriates me to no end. And I'm going to let this fester. And I'm going to let it grow. I'm not going to strike out. I don't think violence begets violence, but I am going to hold people accountable for their just horrible behavior by celebrating the death of somebody. And if a company wants to be associated with an employee that does that, so be it. But I'm going to let it be known in the little bit of microphone that I have so that people can decide, hey, where you want to go eat, what sports team you want to support, how your tax dollars are spent. That's why I'm glad these teachers are getting fired. And at the end of the day, what news station I will watch, because if your employees are going to be pigs like this and say disgusting comments like this, then I'm not going to watch it. And we had you always say elections
take your eyeballs elsewhere.
Well, I mean, we had a split. Maybe you saw the split face of on one half it was Martin Luther King Jr. and on the other half, it was Charlie Kirk, and they merged the faces together side by side. And I mean, there really is no difference. Martin Luther King Jr. was killed for his words, for the words he was saying.
And the movement he was pushing.
And he became a martyr, and rightly so. And he wanted equal rights. Charlie Kirk was killed for his words. And I just would challenge anybody, before you go spreading, like Dan just said, before you go spreading misinformation, well, he was an anti-Semite or he was a racist or whatever. Those are easy words. Those are blunt. Misogynist. That's another one they love to throw around, right? Show me the example. Show me the clip in totality. Don't pick a couple of words out. I want to see the clip in totality. Because once you say that, I'm not vilifying. I'm pointing out that liberal Democrats are actually should be held accountable for the words they're using. Once you say someone is a Nazi, okay, once you say that, then what there's fringe in your group will say, well, I'm doing the Lord's work by taking out the Nazis.
That's exactly what I was trying to make earlier was that's different than, saying Rosie O'Donnell's a fat pig. When you starting, that's inciting, that's influencing people to go out and do these things. And talk about Martin Luther King, I got some heat, and I don't give a fuck. I did a complete breakdown on Facebook yesterday of the similarities of Charlie Kirk and Martin Luther King Jr. It is This is the modern day MLK assassination, and it is exactly the same. Now, the clowns that want to talk about George Floyd, I had one to come at me. George Floyd had kids. Well, first off, George Floyd couldn't pick his kids out of a photo fucking lineup.
Wow.
You said that yesterday.
Wow.
That's so perfect.
That's brutal.
It absolutely is. Okay, the man had, he wasn't living with any of them. He wasn't raising any of them. He had 5 of them for 5 different women. None of them lived in the same city. He didn't know his kids. So fuck you with that rhetoric. So that's the kind of stuff the liberals come out. What about George Floyd? What about a man who died of a drug overdose, resisted arrest? Because that's what happened with George Floyd. He died of a drug overdose, resisted arrest, and you're going to compare that to a man who was assassinated, for his political views. And I'm tired because I always talk about, man, First Amendment, free country. We don't have First Amendment. And we don't live in a free country anymore. I don't feel that way. And let me tell you why. When a man is gunned down merely because of his speech, and I'm going to say 30, maybe I'll disagree, 30 to 40% of the nation celebrates it, we do not live in a free speech country.
Yeah, because if you go against it, then you are going to get doxxed in one way or another.
When you don't live in a free country, Jason, if that's what it has come to, then we got to quit saying we live in a free country and we have free speech, because we don't. Because they have been allowed to kill us over our speech, and it's being celebrated.
It is, and that's the truth. It is being celebrated. So 513, if you want to apologize in the comments for suppositioning what we would celebrate here, I can tell you that my personal, you know, what I feel personally.
Yeah, wait till it happens. Wait till and God forbid something like that happen, that someone on the left gets taken out by some nut job on the right.
You will not see this show.
Gauge our reactions.
Yeah, you will
gauge
not
our
see
reactions
this show
then.
celebrating then. Until then, I think you really owe us an apology, because that's
take it to the bank. You can take that to the bank.
That's slanderous, or is it libelous? I can't remember.
Hey, y'all know how I feel about Tim Walz.
Libel is written.
Slander.
Well, I would not celebrate if Tim Walz was killed. I would not celebrate if Jasmine Crockett was killed. I would not celebrate.
We can make fun. We can make fun
all day long,
and whatever, and not agree, and that's fine. But they're still walking the earth.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Yeah. And I'm not.
And James, what you said about George Floyd is 100% true. That he died of a drug.
He said
100%. Yeah, that's right.
Candace is in the chats
but,
too.
You know, people like Jasmine Crockett, people like Ilhan Omar, people like Klobuchar. I mean, they will fight you all day long, tooth and nail, on that, because they want to control that narrative that he was killed by racist white cops. Why? Because it serves the agenda. It serves
the purpose.
It all serves the agenda. All this stuff and anything, and I've said it time and time again, that the agenda trumps everything. It trumps truth. It trumps political affiliation. It trumps everything. The most important thing to the radical left is the agenda. And if you're doing something in service to the agenda, then you're golden. And if you're doing something not in service to the agenda, they have no use for you.
And
well, you talk about how it has changed.
Go ahead.
You know, we talk about how things have changed since Tuesday. Well, here's a great example. I watched y'all's show Tuesday. It was one of the best shows that I've seen, y'all. It was great. Eric was on. Y'all did great. He did great. Atmosphere was great. Tuesday night, I did a show, and Jason came on, and our new friend Candace, who's in the chats today, she came on. And I talked to I was texting Jason Wednesday morning, messaging Candace how great everything was. Man, it was just my mood was just, man, what a great show. Watched a great show. Eric brought some great insight. I've been reading his book. We had a really good show. And then look what happens a few hours later, man.
Yeah.
Look at this show today. I think this is a good show, the things that we're talking about. But look at our mood. We're fucking mad. We weren't like that Tuesday. Were you like that Tuesday? Y'all show wasn't mad Tuesday. Our show
we're grieving right now. We are
that's what I'm saying. So, this has changed the world, man.
But you know what's funny is we're stupid because we're grieving over some guy that got shot.
No,
there's a lot of people that are saying that. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
That's the point I'm making.
But
well,
no,
hold on a second. I usually stay pretty pissed off. So I mean,
Yeah, well,
I'm
yeah,
just
you,
kinda-
you live in that.
I mean, I
That's your
I'm a
homeostasis right
grumpy
there. is
old man.
pissed.
I got to be honest with you.
So Pappas is the angry white man my friend was talking about.
Oh man, I mean, you seriously, you should see me driving. Oh my God, it's like you could do a whole sitcom.
You
on
should
me just
call
driving
him while
around.
he's in the car. It's
Oh,
fantastic.
fantastic.
I could
Yeah.
make a whole show out of that.
It could be a show. It's just me driving around town.
What are you doing? It's like Cash Cab, except it's fucking pissed off Pappas.
Pissed off Pat.
Man, that could be a YouTube channel or something.
Yeah,
TikTok
I'm telling you,
channel.
We might have to do this.
Might have to monetize this. You know what a blinker is?
I think you could.
No, it's just gross, and we've seen a lot of stuff here locally, and obviously because we're gonna focus in on some of that.
Yeah.
But we've got a judge who's talking shit over
saw
social
that,
media.
man.
And sadly, he's on a foundation that does a lot of good. And I hope
Yes.
that Joe Burrow does the right thing at the foundation and shit cans this judge. Because
We have a police/fire dispatcher who's talking shit.
well, that was is it Claremont? Is she
No,
Claremont?
Hamilton.
Is that Hamilton?
Yeah.
Okay.
wow.
So I reached out to all my sheriff's buddies. And I was like, "Hey, you guys need to look into this because voices can be heard. Your social media posts can be heard, but guess what? A bunch of voices going into the director of the communication center's office can be heard too. It's just. I had a lot to say. I didn't put a ton out. I shared some different posts on my Facebook page, but I didn't put a lot out. And I wanted to go yesterday, but we were going to be. It was
It was going to be angry. It was
was
going to be much
very
different.
angry.
And we wouldn't have had the 24 hours of experiencing the largely, well, not largely, Democrat response or liberal response, I should say, because it's even if I think this is going to backfire terribly on the Democrats. I've seen lots of videos of people that I may or may not agree with politically, but socially, they're disgusted by the reactions that they've seen from liberals celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
And they are saying, you know what, that's not me. And I just don't agree. I'm not going to rationalize it. I don't want any part of it. And I still, has 513 apologized yet? Because I haven't seen an apology flash up there.
Yeah, you won't. You won't.
I mean, it's not.
I mean, you can hold your breath.
I'm sorry for being an asshole. It's not that hard. It's like
You can hold your breath. I'm a trained paramedic. I got you when you go unconscious.
Are you going to give me CPR?
Yes.
It's kind of hot. No tongue.
I'm going to intubate you, but I don't have all the tools. We'll make sure the camera's off, though. We'll make sure the camera's off.
James. So
this is,
you said down there in Louisiana is so the local people. I mean, the local reaction, obviously, but the local reaction is pretty much the same here. Disgust. Are they calling out people that are
absolutely people that normally don't die on hills are choosing this as their hill to die on?
Good.
And they are. There was I saw on Facebook there was a local teacher that had said some things, and if Facebook has blown up over it. They're trying to get her fired, and I hope they do. I don't know her or don't know anything about any of this except I saw what she posted and it was disgusting. And I think that's I think it's consistent with the rest of the nation. You got people who normally stay to themselves, who don't say a lot, are dying on this hill. And you know what? This is the hill to die on.
Amen.
Because I'll say it again, this is the modern day MLK assassination. And this is our kids' generation. And they need to step up because, that's what he did. Charlie Kirk, I followed him. I really followed him pretty heavy. But what he did, because our kids being indoctrinated in it's pretty obvious right now with seeing what these teachers are posting, these college professors. But what we needed him. We needed him. He brought so much perspective to the youth who was being just indoctrinated by the left. And that's why they killed him. That's why they killed him, because he was a threat. Why was Martin Luther King Jr. killed? Because he was too powerful. He was influential, and he had a movement. He was influencing people. He was moving people, and they killed him. Charlie Kirk was moving our youth back to believing in God, back to following God.
He switched 44% over 2 years.
He won the fucking election, Jason. He Trump's president because of Charlie Kirk. I'm telling you right now.
Yes.
No question. Hey, James, did you see the
I totally
photograph?
agree with that.
Did
Yeah,
you
and,
see,
and Trump agrees with it.
Did you see
Yeah.
the photograph of the suspect? And we won't. I agree with
Yes.
Dan. We're not going to mention his name.
And we're not. I won't even. I mean, it's all over the
Yeah.
news. You have to be under a rock if you don't know what he looks
He
like.
looked like what I thought he would look like, a pencil dick who's never been in a fist fight. Yeah.
And just for clarification, 513, I didn't misunderstand anything. You made a statement, and you still haven't apologized for it. So piss and off. But as far as James, the picture that I shared, the kid was wearing a shirt. It's been verified by Newsweek.
I do have that.
So he's going to show it here in a second.
Do I show it?
I'd like to remind our 513s of the audience that, this kid was wearing a Democrat Socialist of America shirt. There's no doubt that he was obviously influenced, at least by the shirt, by these radical left there, right there. So the shirt says "Be the Change." There's a B on it. And then the bigger picture, it says DSA at the bottom. That is the Democrat Socialist America logo. That is it. And it did say DSA on his shirt. You just can't see it. It's cropped out. But and it has been verified.
We did fact check it.
So at the end of
over many arguments before we started,
and they owe me an apology on that one. But anyway, my point is that, listen, this isn't by accident. And I'm sure in the Democrat Socialist America club meetings, I haven't been to one. I heard they're a lot of fun, but I'm sure in their meetings, the word Nazi, clear and present threat, end of democracy, all the usual liberal garbage is being spewed there. I didn't twist it. I saw your words, dude. You want to scroll back? Read your own words, dummy. But at the end of the day, this is the rhetoric, cause and effect. A very direct rhetoric caused this emotionally unhinged, stunted, probably phallically challenged individual to take matters in his own hands and shoot somebody. Here we are. And rightly so. I think society and the world will turn Charlie Kirk into a martyr. And you know what you just created?
Absolutely. Yes.
You just created a lot of Charlie Kirks out there. A lot of Charlie Kirks out there.
Oh, you woke a sleeping
We'll see.
giant. You
So,
woke a sleeping.
Yeah.
It may take
Absolutely.
a little while. It's going to take a little while for the wind to get back in our sails, but it's all part of the grieving process. And I've read so many articles about this, and the person who wrote the article, and I forget where I saw it, but they were essentially saying that the reason that this strikes, that there's so many people affected by this is because it strikes really at the heart of what our country is about, and that's the First Amendment, the freedom of speech. And so this was an attack on the freedom of speech, and that affects everyone. It affects, obviously people in different ways, but people who care about the freedom of speech, which I do, and I think all of us do on this program, and everyone who's watching this program, I think cares deeply about the freedom of speech. So it was an attack on the freedom of speech, and I think that's not the entire reason, but I think a big part of the reason why so many of us are feeling the way we feel about this.
Let's get to our sponsor real quick, and then we'll tone her out since we started late. Since I apparently screwed something up, and I don't even know what that was.
Hi everyone, Dan Carroll here. Time to tell you about a great new sponsor for the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast. It's Murphy Engraving. Murphy Engraving is the place to go for your business, industrial, and personal engraving needs. Take a look at the Murphy Engraving page on Facebook, and you're going to see all kinds of unique items that really seem to take on a life of their own because they've been customized with an image, a name, or a logo, and all of it just really beautifully done. The acrylic sports awards that light up are especially creative and very cool. The customized bottles of bourbon, those are my personal favorite. And wait till you see what they can do with items that are made out of wood. The next time you want to recognize someone special or you're looking for that one-of-a-kind gift, you'll be glad you checked out Murphy Engraving. And a bonus, you're supporting a local family-owned business run by brothers Brian and Kevin, who is a lifetime firefighter and Air Force vet. At Murphy Engraving, they turn the ordinary into the extraordinary, and at Murphy Engraving, we are American-made.
There you go. America.
We appreciate
Thanks
Kevin
to
Murphy.
Engraving.
Yep.
And thanks to James for being here today.
Yeah,
man.
James, thank
Great
you.
stuff today. I really appreciate it.
And James had me on his show. I know he wants to get Pappas on his show. I'm sure Dan as well. But he
James,
invited
James,
me.
I'm
both
gonna
of
text him
y'all,
my
sure.
number. I'll text him my number. Would you?
I will.
Jason?
Yeah, I'll share it. But he had me
I
on the
love
other
that.
night, and I got to meet Candace,
Not online.
who has a huge TikTok following. Follow Candace is
She was
right on
great.
TikTok. If you're on TikTok, she's a fucking firecracker, man, and I love it.
Yeah.
Like
She's definitely. We had
she's
a
got
good show,
good
man.
points. We had a great show the other night, but I'm glad she was in the chats. I appreciate her, checking us out because she hadn't seen us yet. So that's awesome. So I appreciate that introduction, James.
So we are getting ready to close it out, and I want to do it today with the words of Ken Blackwell. Ken Blackwell, who at one time was the mayor of Cincinnati, then he went on to become the treasurer of the state of Ohio, and now he is he's at some institute. I can't remember.
Ken.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is.
I forget which one it is,
yeah.
but one of those institute where they sit around and think deep thoughts and stuff like that, and it's just really a profound writer. He writes columns regularly, and this is what he posted on his Facebook in the wake of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And these are the words of Ken Blackwell. To the man who murdered Charlie Kirk: you may think you struck a blow against the man you disagree with. You may think your cowardly act somehow silenced him. But let me make this very clear. You failed. You failed because truth does not die with a bullet. Principles do not bleed out in the street. And a movement built on conviction is not so fragile that one violent act can scatter it. You proved something you never intended to prove, that Charlie's words were powerful enough to terrify you. You feared him not because he carried a weapon, but because he carried ideas that cut deeper than any weapon you could ever wield. You feared the light he carried because it exposed the darkness you live in. You thought you could erase his influence. Instead, you underlined it. You thought you could end his mission. Instead, you multiplied it. You thought you could make us afraid. Instead, you made us stronger. History is filled with cowards who hid behind violence when they could not win with reason. Every tyrant who jailed a dissenter, every fanatic who silenced a prophet, every assassin who tried to erase a leader, they all shared the same delusion that killing a messenger kills the message. Time has proven them all wrong, and time will prove you wrong too. Because Charlie's fight is not just his, it is ours. Now it burns brighter than ever. His family and friends, his countless supporters across the country, we carry his torch. You cannot put it out. You cannot stop what has already taken root in the hearts of millions. You wanted to silence a man. Instead, you gave voice to a generation. You wanted to stop a movement. Instead, you set it on fire. You wanted to strike fear. Instead, you revealed your own. We are not afraid of you. We are not backing down. We are not surrendering our beliefs, our principles, or our courage. So remember this. When you hid in the shadows and pulled the trigger, you did not prove strength. You proved weakness. You did not end a mission. You gave it a new beginning. And you did not stop Charlie Kirk. You made sure his message will echo far louder than it ever has before. Charlie's fight is our fight. His cause is our cause. And we will carry it forward with even more determination, more resolve, and more unshakable faith than ever before. You failed, and we will never fail him.
Amen.
Perfect way to end it.
That's strong.
Thank you, Ken Blackwell.
James, we appreciate you. Guys, we'll see you hopefully Sunday or Monday. Potentially. We'll figure it out. But we came in hot today. But we will keep you posted. But perfect way to end it, Dano. And James, again, thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me, and I'll see y'all live in a few weeks or 2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today.
Bringing some boudin.
All right,
2 weeks from today, the big day.
I'm bringing some boudin, man. I am
You
absolutely.
allowed to say that on the podcast?
But we appreciate
remember that?
everybody
Boudin?
tuning in
You're allowed
and
to say
the
boudin.
conversations and in the chats. That makes this fun. So we love you guys, and we'll see you in a couple days.